So hello there. So firstly, apologies for not doing the live last night. I didn't feel very well, so I didn't go through it, so I do apologise. So I'm going to make a pre-recorded video now, as you can see. So this is issue 54 and 55. They're both titled exactly the same, fitting detail to the chassis, and you'll see a few new additions to the stream. But if you saw a video earlier on, you'll understand why. So let's crack on with it.
I've pounded the road from coast to coast, Yorkie and me rolling on. 'Cause a long day's run can be short on fun without Yorkie to help me along.
Okay, so I've got a brand new little mat and I've got a new screwdriver, so big thank you to Peter Webster, and I love it already because look, you can't miss it, it's bright orange. So let's start off with issue 54. I have both pieces of the chassis. I know that I'm working on one side on one issue and one on the other. I can't remember which one is which, but obviously once we get into the instructions, we do look at the instructions, then we can work out which is which. So let's start off with piece number 54-1, air tank part with sockets. And you can tell you've got two very similar parts, but you can tell them apart because one's got a couple of holes in it and the other one hasn't. So part number 2 is air tank half with pipe detail. So again, it's got some little pipe details as well. So piece 3 looks like it's going to be this one. This is the main right spring bracket front. And then piece 4 is the main right spring bracket rear. And I need to learn to work more in the middle, don't I? And now these two are metal, but the first two parts are plastic. Piece 5. And you've got two pieces here that look very, very similar, and I can see that piece 5 is this one, secondary spring front stopper, and you can see you've got a little tab on the top there, and it's on the right hand side, and secondary spring rear stopper is got it on the left, as you can see. That then leaves us with piece 7, which is the hydraulic distributor, and it looks, in the magazine, it looks something like this. So it looks a bit like a fire hydrant, doesn't it, with extra details. And then that leaves us with 2 packs of screws, which is the DD03, which is 5 2.3 by 4mm PM screws. And one of which is spare, and I will cut those now. And we have 4 1.8 by 4mm PB screws, so these are the ones that are going into plastic. DP08, one of which is spare. So there we go, we get those ready. So let's begin with the build. So the first thing we need to do is take the chassis piece that looks like this, and you'll see you've got this piece that's coming down and you've got the mudguard on the left hand side. And you need to take piece 7, which is this one, and that's going to go in there. And looking for some holes and looking at the orientation, it looks like it's going this way. Is that right? Doesn't look like it's going to fit. Right. 2. Because it's actually going into that hole. Right. Right, so what it looks like we're doing is this hole is going into there, or into there. Yeah. Right, I see I've got it the wrong way round. Right. So you'll see that on this side you've got one hole. Can we have a focus? and on this side we've got 2 holes. We've got 1 hole and we've got a peg. Now that peg wants to go into that hole there and the hole in there, so we're going to turn it this way, and I can feel that that is a perfect fit, and that does not look, oh I see, it's the way, so the way it shows it like this in the magazine, but you actually want to put it on that way. And I'm really not happy with the focus today. Let's see if I can get that in a little bit closer. Maybe the focus will be better. Right, so what we want to do is we want to attach that with a 1.8 by 4mm screw. So let's find a suitable head, which is not going to be any of those. There we go. That's perfect. Right, see how good the magnetic, look at that. Right, so get the screw ready. I do like these screwdrivers with a flat end. You can just hold them up. You'll see there that I've got my screw ready on the end. So we want to hold this down. We can see the screw hole there. Try not to let this hit down on the floor. And perfect. Not perfect. Perfect. That doesn't look like it's going to line up properly. Right. So you might need to look into there and make sure you've got the hole lined up properly. And also make sure you've got the right screw head. I think that might be a little bit small. Yeah, I think that's going to be better. Right, let's try this again. If your screwdriver head is too small, it's just going to wobble all over the place. So you can see there, like, I'm just getting that in nice and gently, waiting for the resistance to change, and that's on there perfect. Okay, so the next thing we want to do is move to the other end along here, and we're looking at these holes round about there. And what we want is, you'll see that in amongst the square we've got a little shape. Can you see there's a shape there, and we've got a shape there, and that will line up with these, so we can see that that's going to go in there like that with that shape, and that's going to go into there with that shape. And I would do these one at a time. We want another couple of these 1.8mm screws, and then from behind, trying to make it not flick off everywhere, we want to attach that. It's a little bit fiddly, guys. Put my screwdriver down. Between holding this part in and moving these wires out of the way, it's going to be a little bit awkward, but once you've got it, it'll be fine. So I'm just, because of the fact it's flicking all over the place, I'm just going to put that in enough to bite, and I can see that is in. So I've just finished screwing that in. There we go, that's fine. And then we'll do the same with the other one. So we'll screw that in gently, not too much force, and then as the resistance changes, there, perfect. And that's actually slipped. That's why we check and double check. There we go. And that's slipped again. Right, look at that. So the little black bits are going to be facing downwards. So next we want, so I've got too much shine on this. So next to that, round about here, we want to take the oil tank, the one with the part with the holes in it, and we want to place that over the holes, and I can feel that these holes are different sizes. I think. I'm not sure. Right, let me have a look. So take the air tank with sockets and find the position where it fits on the beam. Raise screw sockets on the beam fit into the holes. Right. So let me have a look at this. I'm trying to find an orientation, but it looks like it's exactly the same. Right. Yeah, that's slightly bigger. So this one wants to go on this side. Yeah, that is a good fit. That's a good fit. Right. Okay, so that wants to be screwed in with the 2.3 by 4mm PB screws. So although I said this screwdriver would be much better for plastic screws, we'll see how well it copes with metal. Because obviously with metal I want to get those on nice and solid. It copes really well actually, so long as you've got a larger head. Beautiful, absolutely beautiful. No movement in that at all. Right, so the next thing we want to do is we want to take the other end with the pipes, and what we want, you see here we've got one pipe sticking out and one coming out and then going down. We want that one going down on the left hand side, and that's, you'll see there's two pegs in there, and those pegs are going to go into the holes there. No need to glue it. Look at that, that's perfect, absolutely perfect fit. Right, so step 9, take the main front right spring bracket, which is this one, and we've got 2 holes there and we've got a hole in a peg. Check how it fits on the beam between the air tank and the stopper. So that's going to go in like that. A screw socket in part 3 fits into a recess in the beam and peg fits into a hole. And then this shows the bracket in place. So we want to screw that in with 2.3 by 4mm, but it doesn't tell us. I think the screw is actually there. No, it's not. It's on the inside. Of course it's on the inside. Why is it not showing us that then? Right, so we get our screw ready. We'll hold our bracket on, and then we'll screw it from there. Wow. Perfect screwdriver there. Right, so lastly we've got the spring bracket piece number 4. We want to hold that. Now that wants to go down the end, and you'll see there you've got another hole and a peg, and that's going in like, can't find it, there we go, that's going in like so, and then that wants to be screwed in with another 2.3 by 4mm, again from the other side. So holding this in place, turning it over, I'm just going to get it started because I want to keep that mud guard on the cushion. There we go. So although you can't see it, so I've just popped the screw in there, if you can see it okay. So we'll make sure that's held in position, and we'll finish that off. That's gone in really hard. Right, so there you go guys, that is that issue finished, and it's just starting to look that little bit better now we've got these extra details. It just adds a little something to it, and yeah, oh, there we go. Right guys, so that is the end of issue 54. So let's bring issue 55 across, and I didn't want to cut the pieces open. There's this bag there, and also I didn't want to muddle the pieces up with issue 54. Now 55 is the start of a new subscriber pack. 54 was the last. Look at this. This has been badly stapled today. So 55 and 58 is the next pack that's arrived. It shows you how long it's been since I've done some Eddie Stobarts. Right, so let's have a look at the pieces that we've got. In fact, I'm going to move this away because I don't think we're working on it. So I'll just leave this chassis piece. So the pieces that we've got, and I'll just bring the camera up a little bit so you can see it. We have got secondary spring front stopper, secondary spring rear stopper. So just like the previous issue, these are very, very similar, but with mirror image shapes to them. So this one is piece 1, that's piece 2. Then we have got piece 3 is the main left spring bracket rear. So I think some of these are looking similar to the last issues. Now this is going to sound like an odd numbering system. We have got 4 and 6 is the left anti-sway bar holder, numbered 1, which is this one, and 6 is the right anti-sway bar holder, numbered 2. Now as I picked these up, I didn't know if there was a difference, but as I read the instructions, obviously I picked up on the number. That leaves piece number 5, main left spring bracket front, which this looks very similar to one from last issue. 2 packs of screws, DD03, and DD03 is 5 2.3 by 4mm PM screws, one of which is spare. So we'll cut that one ready. There we go, I've tipped them out this time. And we've got 3 1.8 by 4mm PB screws, labelled DP08. And this is one of those issues where if you do accidentally muddle up your screws, it shouldn't make a difference because one's very much bigger than the other. So let's start with stage 1. So pretty much the same as the previous issue. We've got these squares here, but within the squares you can just see a shape, and then those shapes correspond with these pieces, and then they will be screwed in with a 1.8mm screw. So we just put one to one side, and avoiding all these pipes and tubes and wires and whatnots, we'll just screw that in there. Now I've got that in just a little bit loose, just to double check that everything's in place, because if this piece moves as you're screwing, as you tighten up, you're actually going to tighten it in the wrong place. As you can see there, it's gone in perfectly. Wonderful. And then the same with the next piece. Hold that in place. Screw that in just enough to bite. Make sure that's in place. It's actually gone in really well, even without the screw being fully tightened. There we go, perfect guys, absolutely perfect. Right, so the next step is to take piece 5, which is the main left spring bracket, raised screw socket fits. So you've got a peg and you've got a hole, and just there you've got 2 holes. So that's going to go in like so, like that, and that's going to be attached from behind with the 2.3mm screws, and we're going to come in from here, and these can go in as tight as you like, guys, because it's metal into metal, and that is just gone in so well actually. Right, and then we want to take this next piece from the front. This is the left spring bracket rear, piece number 3, and it's going to go in near the front, same as before, and that's going to be attached with a 2.3mm screw from behind. And you see I've got some wires and things in the way there, so we'll just move those out. Now I have accidentally moved the piece while I'm doing that, so we'll make sure that's in properly, and then I'll just fully tighten that. There we go, guys, perfect. That's not quite in. I'm not happy with it. There we go, there we go. I think I actually lost grip. There we go, that's in perfect. Right, so that leaves us with 2 pieces, and what we need to do now is taking this from the, I'm going to call this the inside, and we want to take our anti-sway bar number 4, which is, let me just double check this, I believe it's the one that's labelled number 1. It doesn't say that on the instructions. So number 4, yeah, it's the one that's numbered 1. So we want to take the anti-sway bar number 1, and that's going in to there, and that's going to go in, and that's, you know, I looked at this and I thought, well, that's not going to fit well, but actually it's going to go in alright. So that's gone in there, and we want our 2.3mm screw, and this, I'm questioning this in my mind, because what we've been doing is inserting the screws from this side. Now we're inserting one from this side. I'm guessing in the grand scheme of things this part won't be seen. There we go, that's gone in perfect, almost perfect. It's got a little bit of movement to it. I'll see if I can tighten that up a bit more. It's very hard to support it, but not so hard that I just catch bits. There you go, I'm happy with that. Now I'm going to guess that the next bit is to do one on the other side. Yeah, as I suspected. So we need to bring in our chassis piece from before, and we need to do the same on the other side. So this is our chassis piece from before, and we need to turn this over. Can you see this hole there? Our chassis piece is going to go into there, and we are going to attach that from, get a surprise, surprise, from this side. And do you know what? It is a coincidence. I'm only doing 2 issues this video because I didn't do one last week because I wasn't well. But I'm actually glad I did now, because now I can compare them. So what I want to do now is the parts that you expect to be symmetrical should be symmetrical, and the parts that don't need to be won't. So I can see there we have got these bits are the same, so these are the same ends. We've got anti-sway bar on each one there, and I can see the number. So of course this is going to be where the wheel will be, so all of this will be hidden by the wheel. So we actually want the good side on the inside, because the wheel's going to be there, so you won't even see all of this detail. The next piece of detail that I can see, let's get these level. You've got these 2 pieces there. These are obviously for something, and that looks like it's going to be perhaps where the wheels are going to go. You've got this little bit there, and this bit, and followed by this bit. So that all looks in place to me. So these are the 2 pieces. So next issue, which will be next week, is going to connect parts to connect the chassis beams. So we are going to go from 2 separate bits to 1 piece. How excited are you guys? You can see you've got some more different colours there. So my one criticism of this has always been that it's very, very red. That's not saying it's inaccurate. It may be absolutely accurate. However, it does make for a slightly boring model when there's no different colours on it. So just having little bits like this, and then whatever that is, I don't know at this point, it's all going to make it that little bit more interesting. But what I do know is that between all this is a middle front, middle rear, rear and front chassis crossbars, gearbox holder, cross chassis pipe and assorted screws. So guys, that's it for this video. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope to catch you in the next issue.